The secret to having an efficient silage operation begins, of course, with planning. Not just in your head, but in writing, with all the little irritating elements, like what to do if you're short of a worker. I'd better have planned for that. I'd better have trained them in advance if they need it. The checking, machine maintenance, etc. must all be done in advance, in January, February, March, April. By May, it's already too late. We plan what we have as a workforce, what fields we have to do, the areas, the volumes, the needs, how many cows there are, how much energy does that take. It's a bit of an overview.
For a farmer who wants to improve his operation, I would suggest that he takes the training offered by Valacta and the CGAs.
My management consultant asked me, would you perhaps be interested in looking at planning your harvesting operation?
The courses that we took with Valacta on harvesting forage quickly and effectively made us question things a bit. We looked at our strengths and our weaknesses, and we were also able to discuss things with other farmers there. We noticed that, in our case, transportation was extremely slow.
There was also a Valacta training on silage operations. I suddenly realized that I had a problem with the organization of the harvest operation, that I could optimize my harvest. First thing I did to improve my site was to improve the farm roads. I put down a lot of stone dust. I increased the number by 1 silage box per hour.
The general underlying idea of planning a harvesting operation is to maintain a constant work tempo throughout the day. Milking time is really the part that causes the most problems in many cases, and it is not necessary that the machinery stops during milking.
The owners of the farm, usually 2, sometimes 3 to cover meal times, etc. In our case, milking is a bit less of a problem. We have 1 employee, and there is my sister who is more in charge of milking.
I've had the same team for the past 4 years, which means that the person who comes knows his job, and the person who rakes, by now, knows the fields.
The problem we have is labor. Qualified workers are not readily available, and we need them on short notice. In fact, by reorganizing our sites, it allows us to save on labor.
An efficient harvesting operation is one that succeeds in harvesting our hay in the shortest possible time to optimize the quality of the crop.
We start cutting around 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning. We normally cut about 20 hectares, which takes us about 5 to 6 hours.
We start cutting around 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and normally by 8 or 9 o'clock at night, the cutting is all done. 160 acres are cut.
Before, it would normally take almost 10 days to do the first cut. Now it will be done in 2 days.
With 2 years of experience in the silage fields, you realize that if the window is only 24 hours, it is possible to do the first cut of silage in 1 day.
Often you want to say, the weather is good, I'll have a good harvest. The weather is not good, I'm going to have a poorer one. But the challenge is to outsmart the weather.
Doing the fields in 1 day versus how it used to be done, spread out over 3 days, for sure that's where the quality of the fodder is. The humidity is pretty constant.
Another aspect regards communication. Since there are many people, you must clarify if it will be by cell, by CB, by radio transmitter. This must be planned in advance in order to not lose time if a problem arises.
The other point with regards to planning, you have a lot of other work related to forage. For example, manure. When you're ready to spread manure, I outsource. I call my contract guy. I call him when I cut. I tell him, heads up, I'm cutting today. Tomorrow, in 2 days, you can come by and you can spread. That way your manure is spread in one shot. When you do your first cut on the harvest site, even your second one, it's pretty much ready all at the same time.
Planning for the silage site, yes, the first year that'll let the stress, because you're getting out of your comfort zone. But now, after 2 years, it looks after itself.
Funny to say, but I'm a lot less stressed cutting 160 acres than I used to be cutting my 25 acres.
The best advice I could give, if you choose to go with major changes, would be to talk to guys who are experienced and who have already done it. Go to see a farmer who's doing it. There's certainly one in every region.